What's going on, Minnesota Viking fans? Welcome to the Purple People podcast. It is Tuesday, March 16th. My name is Kyle Smith. I'm joined by Kyle West.
Ahoy! Apparently I am a ship. Apparently I am the captain of a ship.
Yes, you are.
Ahoy. Ahoy, mateys.
What's the name of your ship?
SS Love Boat. Because Minnesota.
That's fair enough. Well, what would Adam Carlson's here with us? What would that make him? Is he your first mate?
Adam's actually the captain.
Not that I remember. Maybe I was drunk, but it was a wild time when I was younger. But if he says ahoy, I'll say chips because I'm the big guy that loves cookies.
Chips ahoy are awesome. That's a good one. My friend from work had some Dunkaroos last week. That threw me back a million
nice.
years. Well, welcome everybody that's jumping in. We already got 5 people on. This is episode 430. A New York Giant free agent. We're obviously going to talk about free agency. The tampering period started, and it's been crazy. Craziest one in memory.
There's a lot of tampering going on.
I thought we were talking about Paul White going to AEW here, and I'm like, we're a little late on that.
I'll let these guys take over the wrestling talk. I am so out of it. That's good, though. Yeah, there's been a lot of stuff in between last week's episode and this one. We can tackle that first. Left tackle Riley Reef has been relieved of his duties in Minnesota. I didn't see that coming. I was hoping that he would stay for selfish reasons, but the Vikings made some moves. Started there from the last time we picked up. We talked about the Rudolph stuff. Tight end Kyle Rudolph is gone, but Riley Reef is also gone. That freed up some cap space, and I'm sure this is going to be addressed at some point. I would say maybe with one of their 12 draft picks.
I'm not sure. It all depends on how much faith they have in Ezra Cleveland to move to left tackle. That's a big, big question here. And Ezra Cleveland so far hasn't really proven to me that he's ready, but who knows? Maybe left tackle will be a more natural fit, and he'll ease into it better. But they did make sure that they had some kind of competition and depth at left tackle by bringing back a familiar swing tackle in Rashad Hill. Now, what they did with Rashad Hill was really interesting, too, because rather than give him an outright contract, they gave him a really specific type of deal where he's going to end up getting paid about a little over $2 million, close to $2.5 million. But the cap hit only going to be $1 million, but yet all his money is going to be guaranteed. So it's a sweet deal that works out for a lot of players that aren't going to make a ton of money in free agency, but want to make sure they get their payday. Now, this does open up things, too, for Rashad Hill, because if he comes out and he can play really, really well, and Ezra Cleveland still struggles a bit, there is a little bit of insurance there. And sure, Rashad Hill isn't going to bust the door off anything. He's not going to be an all-pro anytime soon. But he's familiar. He's capable. And he's ready. I mean, the hope, of course, is that Ezra Cleveland will be able to come on in and step in. But it's a bit surprising to see Minnesota move on from Riley Reef after he had such a good season last year.
Yeah, I'm not as big of a fan as what some Vikings fans are of them getting rid of Riley Reef like that. I think it's like the offensive line. It was an area that we needed to improve upon. So, hey, let's just go ahead and get rid of a guy who was playing pretty well and make another position of need on the offensive line. Although, hey, it could be worse. The Raiders released their entire offensive line. So thank God we don't have John Gruden out here making calls for us.
The Raiders released an offensive lineman that not only didn't save them money against the cap, but incurred a bigger penalty than they would have saved, which makes no sense whatsoever.
They are paying him. It would have been a $13 million cap hit to keep him on the roster, and they are paying $15 million to cut the guy.
Solid points.
Gruden. Remember when everyone wanted John Gruden in Minnesota?
No.
No. No.
I remember when they wanted Jay Gruden, which That didn't work out too great either.
Yeah. I think the Vikings are right where they're supposed to be. I don't know really what that means yet because we're in the thick of the offseason, but here we are.
It sounds like one of those things that you'll see written on a house on a piece of the board. You're right where you're supposed to be. Live, laugh, love.
That's probably the grossest thing I've ever heard. That's the target.
I think they'll probably try to move Ezra Cleveland out there to left tackle at him.
Oh yeah, that's got to be the plan, right?
I think that's their thought process. I like Ezra. I liked him a lot coming out of the draft.
And I like Brian O'Neill too. He might move over to left tackle. Who knows? That might be the plan. I don't really want that.
They have a nice little competition, and you can't rule out the Vikings potentially drafting a left tackle as well too, or another guard that they plan on moving to left tackle. Adam's favorite.
Yeah, they'll draft another offensive tackle and just shove him in at guard and be like,
yeah,
good enough. They'll do it. They'll do all right.
So, that's worked out.
Jonathan was getting ahead of us over here, but that's a good point. We're going to talk about Chamar Stefan as well. With the signing of Dalvin Tomlinson, we kind of figured that would probably be imminent there. Mm-hmm. Which is funny because I listened to a couple of Viking podcasts, and it's like, are you going to run 2 nose tackles? I don't know if they're going to do that all the time, but good rotation, good depth. I mean, excellent depth, especially for the money that he's getting paid. I figure he's probably going to.
Where's this nose tackle narrative coming from?
You tell me.
Did someone say it on Twitter and just kind of keep repeating it? Because it's not like he's 340 pounds. Now he's what, 316? That's not a massive nose tackle. If he was like 15 pounds lighter, like around a lot of those 3-technique players are 301 pounds, somewhere between 290, 301. Those 15 pounds are making people think that he's strictly a nose tackle. I don't get the narrative here.
I don't know. I'm going off size. I'm going to what everyone else says. So, I mean,
don't parrot everyone else. Do your own research, man.
Well, he's humongous. I mean, I can't help but think that, and the Giants ran that too. So that's why I'm saying it. They had 2 nose tackles in.
The last year and a half, they played him at nose because he can, but it's not that he has to.
Maybe we'll try him at left tackle. Maybe that's the idea. I don't know.
Throw him in at fullback too once in a while. Why not?
Yeah.
Halfback, hand him the ball. But yeah, I mean, he's more than capable of playing 3-technique, despite being a larger player. Just because he's got a little beef on him doesn't mean that he can't get after the quarterback more. I mean, he had 19 quarterback hits over the last 2 seasons. So, I think he had 3.5 sacks last year, which for a defensive tackle, that's not too bad.
I think I get excited about it. We weren't going to jump straight to the Dalvin Tomlinson stuff, but we can go ahead and go into whatever because we got a lot of stuff we got to cover in the show anyways. But it just makes me excited because you think about the lows of last season, right? The Vikings average for the run against the run was like 4.96 or something like that, which is awful. And
somewhere around 12 or 15 if your name's Dalvin Kamara.
That's exactly where I was going. That Saints game was just putrid, just the worst. And they needed that run stopping ability in the worst way. Now we've pounded this in since we found out that he was going to come to the team. But Michael Pierce coming back is epic. There's been videos out that he's training and he's getting ready, so he is definitely going to play. Barring an injury or some weird thing that happens. But
don't say that. Don't do that to
us. Oh, come on. You say the ACL jokes all the time. What are you talking about?
I know, but don't do it.
Barring something weird, he'll play, and then this is great rotation, or maybe they'll play side by side with him. I don't know what Zimmer's going to do with Tomlinson, but this needed to be addressed, and we were thinking possibly first round in the draft. Well, I think with this signing, I don't think that that's a necessity.
No.
If the value's there, sure, but now you can go look somewhere else. And slowly but surely, you start from the foundation, going back from the line to the secondary. This defense is going to be better.
And let's be honest, too. This isn't a player that's going to be a 3-down defensive back or a defensive lineman. We've seen the Minnesota Vikings in the past. If it gets to be a 3rd and long situation, they might pull him and they might put a pass rusher down on the defensive line again.
Mm-hmm.
So this allows Mike Zimmer to open up that playbook. And if they go to the draft and they grab another defensive end, or they have a playmaking situation where they want, say, Wanham, Weatherly, and Hunter all on the field to pass rush, then yeah, that's what they're going to do. And it sounds good.
I love the move. I'm a big fan of it because you will take a look at a position of need last year, like you guys talked about. We need that front 4 to stop the run. We were letting no-name running backs make names for themselves last year on the Vikings. And also, we've talked about this a lot, too. We got to get pressure from that front 4 on the opposing team's quarterback, because that will help our corners, which is like Smith and I were talking about before we started recording. I still think that's where the Vikings are looking to go in the first round of the draft. We're going to draft a corner, but we got to get that pressure from the front 4 to help ease it on the back end for those guys as well, too. It's a good signing for the team.
How many seasons now, or at least let's be a little bit more crazy with it. How many weeks have we been trying to figure out what the Vikings saw in Chamar Stefan?
A while. You in
How
particular,
long has it
Adam.
been?
It's
You
been
in particular,
years.
Adam.
It's like the Titanic meme. It's been 84 years. Like, I don't know. I don't
Well, he
get
was
it.
with the team for quite a while, too.
And they talked very highly about him.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't understand what the love was. Maybe he was awesome in practice, more than willing to work with the coaches, and he shined in practice. And I don't know what it was, but when he got in game situations, he was getting shoved around. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's like, maybe he just looked really good against a terrible Vikings practice.
Yes. Terrible guard play. I mean, maybe that's what it was. Like, damn,
is this it? Because that makes sense. Because, the Vikings left guard situation is trash.
So, who would he have been going against? What, Drew Samia?
Possibly.
Well, before that, it's now the
Pat
Carolina
Elflein?
Panther, formerly known as Pat Elflein.
Pat Elflein? How about that contract?
Yeah.
Ooh,
Well, that's not the first time they did that, though. They did that with Matt Khalil in the tackle situation, and that didn't work out at all. So, I don't know.
He's still floating. Is Matt Khalil still floating around in the NFL?
He's probably managing that pizza chain that he has.
Hey, it was good pizza. Don't knock the pizza.
I'm not knocking that. I just didn't like that guy. He was less likable.
There's a good comment. Chamar missed Linval. The whole defensive line missed Linval last season.
Well, Matt Khalil's Wikipedia entry still says is a football player who is a free agent, so it's not was yet, so he hasn't hung up the cleats, I guess. No official retirement announcement.
So you're saying there could be a chance he could reunite in Minnesota.
If you can get those knees figured out, because, man, those knees, I'm all for people taking and doing whatever they need to do to get their knees right, but please take the advice of your physician and surgeons. Don't go and have someone rub mud on your knees and be like, oh, I'm going to fix your knees and chant stuff and give you herbs to... No, just go to the doctor, have the surgeon do the surgery, please.
He's got those Kevin Nash knees at this point. He's done. He's
those
done.
Those knees are shredded.
Yeah.
Viking Jerome brings up a good point. I have to highlight this because I wrestled for 6 years, and it's hands down my favorite sport to watch, not professional football. 3-time state wrestling champ. I believe I saw on Twitter his record was 144-1.
Yep.
I'm just going to say it flat out right. That's fucking impossible most everywhere. There were a few guys in the county next to mine that grew up and they were 4-time state champions, which is just unheard of just to get there is hard, but to win it and then do it a bunch of times. So that should tell you how athletic the dude is. I mean, we don't have to talk about it too much, but because he's like 27. And
if you want to talk about reaction time, he is pretty close to a pro gamer.
Ooh.
He runs his own Twitch channel. He plays video games. So yeah, it's not like this guy's coming out of nowhere. He's got skills from other places that translate over. And if you scour on Twitter for some of the Giants fans talking about him, and you go to the blogs and you read what the Giants bloggers have to say about him leaving the Giants, it's hard to find any negative things said about him.
It was a bit like when we signed Linval.
Just thinking that.
Yeah.
Just thinking that.
Yep.
Yeah, for all the guys in the Twitter land that wanted to say, go get Linval, well, you did. Just younger. So good luck to him wherever he lands. But I like this a lot. John Young makes a good point. He's like, I feel like our team could be really good with 2 or 3 big moves. I don't know what those are. I feel like the front office doesn't either, but I want to be excited about it. It's kind of hard to be. Hey, man, we knew going in there wasn't going to be a lot of splash because of the money, but right now they're in a positive, and they're enough in the positive right now after restructuring Anthony Barr and I believe Adam Thielen as well. I thought I saw somewhere it was around 11 or something like that they have free right now. So that brings up the next point in our next topic. There's been interest on re-signing and keeping Anthony Harris. So that's cool.
Yeah, right now the word on the street is either Anthony Harris is going to come back or there are initial talks with Keanu Neal, which I'm a big fan of either one. So I'd like to see either make their way to Minnesota. It's nice to see some of these massive needs that maybe are a bit more under the radar. It's nice to see them getting checked off because now you can take a look at the draft and be like, Minnesota doesn't have to reach for a defensive tackle anymore. Exactly. Okay, so Minnesota now has a couple capable defensive ends that might be able to start. So, yeah, if there's an elite defensive end there, sure, draft them. But you don't have to reach for one at this point. If they can get Neal or have Harris come back, you can check that mark and be like, okay, we don't have to reach there anymore. But what I really think is interesting is that Minnesota is doing this right. Well, Twitter world and Facebook commenters are all completely outraged that the Vikings haven't gone out and signed some insanely priced guard because so far those guards are just getting a ton of money right now. They would be very smart to look to the draft because, as I've said before on the show for the past couple of weeks, guard is really deep in this draft. There's some really talented players that play on the interior of the offensive line that are going to be available even into like the 4th round. So, yeah, if they've got those 3rd round picks, they can even pass in the 1st round and be like, we don't need an offensive lineman here. We can draft. We might not even need a corner if they can bring back Mackenzie Alexander, which the rumor is. But if they don't want to go there, if they have a really talented pass rusher or cornerback or even one of the top wide receivers fall into their lap in the 1st round, they can afford to wait to the 3rd round, and then they can move around to wherever they want to go and get a solid offensive lineman in round 3.
I kind of agree with Jerome in the chat. I could see the Vikings trading out of the number 14 pick if they are some. Because like you explained perfect there, Adam, they're setting themselves up really well going into this draft where they don't have a position of like a really big position of need where it's like, okay, right, we can trade back, we can acquire a couple picks, and we can go for best available.
I like that term. I think not even trying to correct you. I think anything where you need depth, like safety, is definitely a position of need for the Vikings. You need depth. Sure. We need a backup quarterback. We need a wide receiver 3. But depending on the value and the specific day, like day 1, you don't have to go get this. It's kind of like, well, maybe we don't have our starting 53 right at the moment as day 1 starts. But there isn't like, if we miss this guy, we're screwed, which I like. And to your point, Adam, you're talking about moving around, Kyle too, I guess, moving around there. The Vikings have 12 draft picks right now. So Jerome, now that we see how the dust is kind of settling, gearing up for the draft, I think that could be a huge possibility too. I would love to see, and I was talking about this before Adam came on, I would love to see the Vikings go back in the second round and get a pick somehow, because they've traditionally been pretty good about it. I mean, I think was it Harrison Smith? I know Kyle Rudolph was, Dalvin Cook, Eric Kendricks. These are all really good players, and the value is there. Somebody out of the first 32 is going to fall for some dumb reason, and I think the Vikings are really good at picking that up. And they're at 14. They're not at the end of the second round, so I would like to see that happen.
Do you remember the year that the Vikings drafted Matt Khalil?
Yes.
Everybody should have known that the Vikings were after Matt Khalil. Left tackle was their biggest need. Matt Khalil was the clear top prospect. Yet fans were still clamoring saying, no, they're not going after Matt Khalil. They're going after Morris Claiborne. It's like, I get that social media wants these players, but sometimes it's just too clear. And then Minnesota trying to pretend like they're not after Matt Khalil. And it's like, really? Really?
Yeah, I don't think anyone, if you actually paid attention, bought into that narrative too much, Adam.
You were you on Twitter back then? Because that the fans on Twitter really thought that it wasn't going to be Khalil.
Yeah, I mean, he was good for 1 year.
Yeah, he was.
Just none after that. That's a good point. Yeah, it's really nice because if you're at 14, which you're not in the top 10, if you're waiting on a player that you absolutely are in love with, but you kind of feel like that's the only one you're in love with in front of you at 14, you can't hope that other teams miss it, because that's what's – and I'm not saying it has to be like a Justin Jefferson where you're like, what the hell were you thinking, like Philadelphia kind of deal, but you don't want to be in that position. And with the way that they are crafty with their money and whatever, they're cool with saying, hey, look, Riley Reef had a really good year, but maybe they did the New England thing I always mention. They were like, yeah, you had an all right year, but we don't want to pay that much, or maybe you're just hitting that age where we don't have to deal with that. We're going to go get youth. Whatever it was, they're in a very good position after a lot of the smoke is clearing out the first 48 hours of this free agency and tampering period, new league year, all that stuff. So I like it.
The Anthony Barr restructuring might be the most interesting thing that's happened lately, because it's signaling a lot of things. And having Barr stick around for one more year is letting Minnesota kind of take their time to find a player at the position and try to save money and find talent and possibly look at the draft. Because when you look at a lot of the mocks out there, which, don't get me wrong, mocks usually don't go exactly the way that the NFL draft goes. But on a lot of mocks, it's really interesting to note that Micah Parsons starts falling really far. Like he ends up like 12, 13, sometimes 14, 15. And if Micah Parsons is available when the Vikings are on the clock, I wouldn't be one bit surprised to see the Vikings draft him for the future.
Oh, man. Oh, I see a Dozer comment. Let's see this. Yeah, that'd be great. They've got to save some money to sign these draft picks because they have.
Okay, so
but
here's my thoughts. They will sign a guard, but it's not going to be a big, flashy free agent guard. It's going to be a tier 2, tier 3.
It's going to be a Nick Easton.
It's going to be a 1 year small deal kind of talent for it at it. I think I agree with Adam. They're going to look towards the draft to fill the offensive line for the most part.
And what's the rush to sign one right now? Let the dust settle. Let the market kind of figure itself out a little bit, because a lot of these deals that are getting handed out right now look absolutely crazy. I have no idea what the New England Patriots are doing.
You got linemen making what, $80 million?
Yeah. Tight ends are getting 14, 15 million a year.
I thought the salary cap was going down. There are some crazy numbers being thrown around right now.
I want to go back to the Barr stuff because I forget who I argued with on Twitter about it. It's like, I don't get this. Not good for him. It's like Mike Zimmer still loves him because he was his first draft pick ever with the team.
Right.
I don't think personally Anthony Barr would succeed as a pure edge rusher. I don't think that he's going to get around to be that big. But with what the Vikings do specifically, I think, especially with these signings of these tackles and Hunter coming back, it helps him elevate his game off of he's okay in coverage. I think he's just okay. But he's really good at that double A gap blitz. Him and Kendricks are phenomenal. That's what Zimmer does, and he excels in that system.
I like Anthony Barr. I like him. Sorry. No. He didn't.
What I was going to get to is I don't think that this is bad for – I think this is great for both sides because what's going to happen next year and what you're going to see a lot around the league, like even to the Taysom Hill stuff. You guys think that Taysom Hill contract's crazy. It's all voidable. Next year and especially the year after – this cap is going to go up so much because people are going to fill the stands again. Everything's going to keep going and going because money always goes up for the NFL. It never goes down unless it's something weird like this. He's going to get to test the market, and this is great for him because it's not like he's not like Brett Favre age. He's not like Charles Woodson age back in the day. And I'm not comparing him to those players, but what I'm saying is he's still got a chance to go get paid again.
Yeah, last time Barr tested the market, he did pretty well. The Jets are willing to pay him.
He almost went to the Jets. He was like, cold feet. He's going to leave the team, I believe, next year. But I don't think the Vikings would – I think they can find a replacement now. It's about that time. But he's going to get paid, and I love that option for the player because I know all of us here are pro payers getting played.
Yeah.
But this is also a good move for the team because it says, hey, look, showcase your talent, still make some money, just not as much. But I think it's great all around. I'm excited for him, and I'm excited to have him back because him being out last year, that sucked too. You missed out
both Barr and Kendrick should be very excited,
yes.
Especially now that they've got their own new version. I know people are saying don't say the Williams wall, but these guys are big. They're meaty defensive linemen. And they might not have to rely as much on covering the run in the middle since they will be able to start using some of those gap blitzes and things like that. I will be able to see the safeties come up and play a little bit more, especially if the defensive ends can get some pressure and these cornerbacks have a little bit more experience under their belts. This is still a little bit of a what-if year for the defense because, of course, there are still those inexperienced players in the secondary, and there's going to be new faces and new places in the defense, and we're going to see how it all meshes together. But so far, a lot of what we're seeing as far as the pieces coming together are being very complimentary, and they're setting up the Vikings for a little bit more of a brighter long-term future, and it's nice to see.
Oh, I don't like doing this because it's off the Instagram stuff, but we do have a name for Darren Wolfson, and he's a pretty decently known name. I'm not going to share their account because I don't know who the hell runs it, but Darren Wolfson states that he believes Danielle Hunter will not step foot into TCO Performance Center unless it's to sign a new contract. He also stated that he believes Hunter will continue to have dialogue with Mike Zimmer and Andre Patterson. Loves playing for them. Money will apparently fix everything for Hunter, according to Darren Wolfson. So there's an update on the Danielle Hunter situation. What say you guys on that? Because I have opinions.
Okay. I get it. Sure. Make as much money as you can while you can. I don't know if coming off a year, where you missed a year in the NFL due to needing surgery, is the best time to be looking for a contract extension.
I don't know. The best time to ask for a contract extension, though, is when the team is absolutely dog poop at what you do best when you're about to come to play. So
fair.
Yeah.
Do you think he'll play for the Vikings this season?
I think so. I think all the leverage here. I don't
think all the leverage. I think they have some good leverage.
Here's why I say all. Not only did the Vikings showed loyalty to this guy, and I'm not shitting on Danielle Hunter, guys. Don't take my stuff out of context, all right? But they paid a third-round pick who they saw was going to be a stud early. And we talked about it on the show. People were like, what the fuck are the Vikings doing? Paying
Who the hell is Danielle?
It doesn't even start, and you're paying him this money. Like, just wait. He's a monster. I think the timing of it is shitty because of COVID. And also, dude, you're coming off a serious neck injury. We're not doubting that you'll come back. But how about we figure out like maybe we mess with the contract somehow. I'm not the cap guy, so don't crucify me here. Well, how about we make this year guaranteed so you feel good or whatever. You get some guaranteed money and we'll restructure after. But we want to make sure just for 1 year you come back to form. We're not going to hold you hostage for the rest of the contract. We'll renegotiate that. But how about for this year, you just show us that you're not all dicked up from your neck injury, man. That's the problem that I have with this because they went early in and paid you, dude. And the cap went down. What do you want them to do?
Oh, I got a little bit of news here.
Uh-oh.
All of the Vikings-related posts on Danielle Hunter's Instagram have returned to his account as of 1 hour ago.
Very nice.
As the world turns in NFL free agency.
I hate about social media being able to be used this way in regard to sports. This is stupid. This person has unfollowed that person. This person took down a picture of them wearing a Vikings jersey.
You know who I blame?
Come on.
I blame Stefan Diggs. It's all your fault, dude.
Yeah.
It's all your freaking fault.
I do hate the fact that we are 3 grown-ass adults sitting here and we have to talk about Danielle Hunter unfollowed the Minnesota Vikings on Twitter. What does it mean?
If I ever have to get a TikTok to follow this team, I'm going to be very sad.
Lee asked, how much do the Vikings got to spend? Right now, I'm on over the cap. They have $10.9 million in cap space right now.
Guarantee it all to Danielle Hunter.
They were negative, 8 going into last week before? So, hey, they figured it out.
Well, there's some rumblings going on, speaking of the cap, that they're going to ask Adam Thielen to restructure. But from what I've heard, they want to pay him the same thing, but do that little magic trick that they do, where they're like, hey, have a signing bonus, and then it all works out.
They want to kick the can a bit.
Yeah.
Which I'm fine with. I would love that kind of extension. I don't want them to give him an Anthony Barr contract restructure because I don't want any years taken off the deal for Adam Thielen. I like Adam Thielen.
I like him a lot. For as good of a player as he is and as loyal as he has been to this team, I don't ask him to take a pay cut. Don't do that. Don't do the whole, well, you're from Minnesota. You want to take a pay cut to help the team out? Like, can we just not do that?
I feel like he would too, but I don't know if
he would. But he's earned every penny that he has made for this team.
Sorry, Lee. I thought I didn't take your comment down. We got that up there. Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, he's getting paid like a number one. I think Jefferson's going to take that spot real quick. But, I mean, he's still there. How many touchdowns did he have last year? I mean, he's got the most, by the way. I saw this on social media. Gotta love it. The most single coverage touchdowns in the last 2 seasons of any wide receiver. I think it's like 17. Nice. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. But he would. Here you go. $10 million after Monday signings. Yeah, Andrew. That's what I was saying. 2 weeks ago, they were -8 in the hole. So not only that, but to sign people, and we kind of knew the Kyle Rudolph thing was coming. We talked about it earlier. The Riley Reef cut was iffy in the air. I didn't want him to because I thought he played good last year. But hey, they've got capital now, which is good. They've got draft capital. I'm happy. I'm happy as a fan because they're not restricted in this little box. They have options now, which is good. And that's what they need. They just need to go get some depth. I think that a lot of things, and I'm not talking about the Danielle Hunter situation. We don't know what the hell's going to happen there yet. But I think a lot of their starters are good. I think if they can get quality depth now, maybe get 1-2 more starters on either side, this team's right in the thick of things again, man.
Got to stay healthy.
Yeah, that's always a battle.
Starters got to stay healthy and on the field. I know you can't help injuries, but we did get
the
hit.
The guard play right now is probably the biggest question mark, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be nice to see a little bit more wide receiver depth. Apparently, Minnesota is very interested in bringing Chad Beebe back, but doesn't want to do so with a tag So apparently they're going to let him test free agency, see what's out there. And he could draw some interest because he plays some special teams. And he's had some flash plays for Minnesota. He's also had some, whatever the opposite of a flash play is. He's had some of them.
That made me laugh because I thought something I follow on YouTube. YouTube does suggestions to your account, and it's like Josh Rosen career lowlights, not highlights.
I had that suggested. I had that suggested in my feed too. I haven't watched it.
How? Oh my God! Was that one of the most epic failures of the draft I've ever seen? It's like there were 9 mistakes ahead of me. Yeah, okay, dude.
Have you guys ever? And I don't know why anyone would do this recently, but like you could type in like Christian Ponder Vikings highlights, and you can watch like a 5-minute highlight reel of Christian Ponder that makes him look like he should go in the Hall of Fame. It's amazing what cut-ups can do for a player.
That is the absolute danger of when fans start watching tape on college quarterbacks and running backs.
Yeah.
You know, they're not going to show bad plays in a highlight video. They're going to show you some bad rap music probably, but not any bad plays.
If possible, my favorite videos to find are you look for one where they have, hey, here's every snap that this player did in this game. If you can find those, do it. That's what you need to be watching.
It's true.
You know what? To go back to piggyback on both your guys' points, you make all these things like, the guys that are going to be fucking awesome, right? Like Andrew Luck, we knew. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to be amazing. Most of that's a crapshoot. And I highlight quarterbacks for a reason because some of these guys hit and you knew they were going to, and some of these guys would take a flyer on, like Lamar Jackson. The Ravens draft back up into round 1 like the Vikings did with Bridgewater, and he's a freaking MVP one year. And Mahomes, why is Trubisky ahead of Mahomes and Deshaun Watson, right? But I'm thinking specifically about last year and Justin Herbert for the Chargers. Shout out to my brother's team. Because that dude is the shit, and that team was not that good last year. And I didn't see that happening at all. I did not. I thought the kid could be all right because he played at a big name school. He played some good competition. He just came in the league and just lit it up.
Yeah,
I was watching a video of a guy that was opening sports cards, and it was like I think it was 2 weeks into the season that he was doing something, and he's opening. He's like, Henry Ruggs, all right, this guy's gonna be awesome. He's like, Justin Jefferson, I guess he's been okay. And he's just like sifting through these cards, and because at that point Justin Jefferson hadn't really played, and Herbert hadn't really taken a snap, but it was just weird to see him hyping all these top quarterbacks and running backs and draft picks when the players that really came to absolutely shine, he had no clue about as far as what their potential was. And it was fun to me just on a personal level, not only for the cards, but for the players themselves and how the NFL can be so strange with drafts. It's just a lot of fun, interesting stuff during that break.
Just why the NFL is so much fun. All of this. The off-season, the draft, combine, scouting talent, mock drafts. Like, there's always something interesting to talk about. Always something going on. And you never know. None of it, there's no guarantee on any of it.
No.
Let's talk about the biggest free agent splash. Because I heard so many places on the internet and social media and podcasts that the Bears are all in on Russell Wilson. And I was like, son of a bitch. Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers for the next 3 years for the Vikings. That's just purgatory. And they go and get Andy Dalton. I mean, don't get me wrong. He's better than Biscuit. Let's not say that in any negative way to Andy Dalton. But that's hilarious. Thank you for bringing it up, Viking Jerome. That is so funny. And Jared Goff's in the division now. That's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
I forget about that.
I don't think Andy Dalton's that bad.
No, not at all.
If he can get an offensive line, he looked, well, a lot of quarterbacks looked really good against Minnesota when they played them. But
yeah,
Andy Dalton chucked the ball around pretty well against quite a few teams when he was playing for Dallas. And I just, the Bears are spending so much money and resources on the quarterback position. And I understand being all in on Russell Wilson. If you got a chance to go get him, you got to do what you can do. But when they got told, absolutely no, we're not moving him, well, then it's just time to panic.
I mean,
you could have went after Deshaun Watson too if you wanted to wait. Tyrod Taylor signed with the Houston Texans today, and despite what they're trying to tell you out loud, the Houston Texans are going to trade Deshaun Watson. He's made it abundantly clear he's not playing for that team. So it's just a matter of time of, okay, what's the value we're going to say yes to? He would be scary in Chicago if the defense comes to form, but I don't know, man. I guess I see your point of freaking out because are they high enough up to get a quarterback? Are they going to go through that cycle again 4 years later? Because they didn't pick up the tender on Trubisky, I don't think, the fifth-year option. So,
yeah, he'll be coming in his final year.
I don't know.
But you got a Super Bowl MVP year. Was Foles the MVP?
That Super Bowl?
Yeah,
he was.
Yeah, so it's not like they don't have anything, but I don't know. To me, that competition alone is just it's cringeworthy in a lot of ways. But the old saying is true: if you have three quarterbacks, you don't have a quarterback.
Yeah, yep. And I was going to make that exact point, Adam. You stole my thunder, but they've got three quarterbacks. They don't have shit between the three of them. I mean, not really. You can,
well, think about this, man. I know what you're saying right now. Think about that perfect storm that happened in Philly. Nick Foles had to step in and play 6 games. Now, he played arguably, in my opinion, the best 6 games you could ever play, even though the first 2 at the end of the season weren't that good. He torched the Vikings and played ridiculous against the Patriots. Some of the best quarterback play of any Super Bowl and postseason run ever. But he's traditionally gets hurt. And I don't know what it was beforehand, even with Andy Reid and wherever he was playing before, KC and the Eagles before. He's not really been that impressive. He just had a really good stretch. Trubisky's Trubisky, and then Andy Dalton,
well, you say that. Here's the thing about Foles. Here's the thing about Foles, though. He had that stretch where he threw all those touchdowns when he was with what was that? He was with is it the Rams?
Yeah.
He was with the Rams, and he threw like 7 touchdowns in a game.
That was with Jeff Fisher too. Holy shit.
So you just don't know what you're going to get with him from day to day. He's shown all these flashes that make you want to go all in on Nick Foles.
These streaky players, though, it's weird because you see a lot of people just absolutely pooping on the Vikings when they didn't try to bring back Case Keenum after his super hot stretch.
Right.
And you saw the Baltimore Ravens hand pretty much the Baltimore franchise to Joe Flacco after he had his hot stretch. They handed him the keys to the franchise and said, "Here you go, big man. Go for it."
To that point, that's one of the reasons why the Vikings love Kirk Cousins so much, because the consistency's there. Now, he's not going to be top 10 probably ever, but that what you're going to get with this dude. And to your point, again, Kyle, talking about Nick Foles, he had a season where he threw 27 touchdowns and 2 picks. I don't even know if that team went to the playoffs. Fast forward a couple of years ahead, he's the freaking Super Bowl MVP, and he's shredding defenses apart because he has the perfect storm around him. But I left this up forever, and we should answer it. Why did we never draft a quarterback that's worth keeping? Your guess is as good as mine, dude.
Because it's the most difficult position in the NFL to draft.
And shit luck. I mean, look at Bridgewater. I think we're trying to see what Teddy really is now, which is a lot more underwhelming than we wanted to say. But he's a good player. But even that, with the knee injury, it happened in practice for like a week before the season started. It's just a lot of shit luck there. I think that's what it is. I don't know.
To me, I understand not wanting to bring in someone who's any kind of threat to Kirk Cousins or not wanting to have any kind of real fan clamoring to have Cousins benched. But you don't have to spend a top draft pick on a quarterback to have him sit behind Cousins to develop and kind of work with. Cousins could work very well with a quarterback they draft 4th, 5th round and just see what they've got over time. And if that quarterback starts showing some potential, then maybe he'll move him. Yeah, I mean, it would just be an investment. And we've seen Minnesota make some really good investment on players in the middle rounds and be able to flip them later on and get points or talent or money or draft picks or
Right on.
Diamonds and jewels.
There were some of those teams, like when the Vikings drafted Christian Ponder. Man, we know what Ponder's. He ultimately didn't work out for him, but he was on some kind of terrible Vikings teams. I mean, when you're throwing to Devin Aromashadu as one of your wide receiver targets, I don't know what you expect from the guy.
Michael Jenkins. The defense letting up almost the most points ever in franchise history.
Yeah.
They're pretty fucking bad. Yeah, let's call it what it is.
Mike. I mean, it's like, okay, I don't know. What would Ponder have done on...
When your nickname is Molasses Mike, why would you not want to be called Jenksy Cat? Jenksy Cat's way better than Molasses Mike.
Yeah, that's kind of goes against the whole idea of the receiver position. That's funny. I remember that touchdown in that game, though. That AP breaking 2,000 yards game. And I was just like, there goes an interception in the end zone. And I jumped out of my chair at work. I was like, he got it! I can't believe he got it.
But yeah, Jerome Simpson, Devin Aromashadu. Yeah. Who was that? That receiver for Minnesota who was dating the Playboy bunny girl that had like the poop thing in the bed.
I don't remember this.
I feel like I should remember this one, but I don't.
Yeah, he was dating one of Hugh Hefner's girlfriends after Hugh Hefner and her broke up. And they had a reality show on TV.
Do you remember about what year?
No.
Roundabout? No.
But boy, I hope one of you guys do.
I don't remember that one, Adam.
Because that guy's name is just completely escaping me right now. But yeah, to your point, some of the receivers that he had to throw to were just yuck.
He had Kyle Rudolph, and that was it.
Well, to battle the Christian Ponder thing, you had Percy Harvin for a little bit as well. And you just had to turn around 80% of the time and hand it to 28 and not mess that up. So, I see both sides.
Yeah.
He was not a 12th round pick, though. That was not a first round top 12 talent.
And if he would have been like a 3rd round pick,
wouldn't have been considered a bust in my eyes.
Yeah.
Hank Basket, that's his name.
Hank Basket.
Oh, Hank Basket. Hank Basket has my favorite unintentional quote from Brad Childress. It was after they cut Randy Moss. Childress was asked by a reporter, how are you planning on replacing Randy Moss? Future Hall of Fame wide receiver, Vikings legend, Randy Moss. How are you going to replace him? Brad Childress, it's okay. We have Hank Basket. No, it's not okay. None of that is okay.
See, I remember the stories about Hank Basket, but his name just couldn't stay in my head, and he's a great trivia footnote for this franchise.
He's a wide receivers coach somewhere now, I think.
Nice.
Oh,
did he wind up marrying that Kendra girl or whatever the hell they were dating at the time?
It's free agency. Start of free agency. We're fucking talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
That's he and Kendra got married. Nice. Good for them.
Well, we have to talk about this, too, because this was a major signing. Not really. I forgot to add this in there earlier. Daily Norseman, give you a shout out because I'm stealing this. You're the first link up there. Linebacker Nick Vigil. He was formerly of the Los Angeles Chargers. 1-year deal.
Someone I'm not really familiar with.
He might be the leading contender for the 3rd linebacker role with Eric Wilson leaving in free agency. I don't know. Did Eric Wilson sign with anyone yet?
Nope. But the Vikings still have Troy Dye, and I'd like to see what Minnesota can do with Hardy Nickerson and some of those other players they brought in midseason, because some of those guys look kind of good.
I have to correct myself. I was thinking of Greg Lewis. It's Greg Lewis who's now a wide receiver.
Oh, my heavens. Coach. Greg Lewis. That's what I'll always associate that with. That's his title.
The other miracle play. Not the Diggs play, but the other miracle play.
That was
from
the
Greg Lewis.
favorite before the Diggs thing happened for sure.
Yeah,
that shaped that season to be really good for the Vikings' favor because they were about to lose that game.
I mean, as long as we're not talking about the miracle at the Met.
No.
Now you're going clear back.
Yeah, the linebacker Nick Vigil, like I said, formerly of the Chargers. Eric Wilson has not signed anywhere. I hope that Minnesota can find a way to bring him back. He is a talented player.
If not, there are some other linebackers Minnesota could bring back or look into or draft. I don't see that as being something essential right now. So hopefully they can hold on and find either a good value in free agency or either the draft because man, I know the clamoring for a guard right now is super loud from fans, and rightfully so because the guard play was just so atrocious. But I'm trying to hold steady, not get too excited and anxious about the position. So fingers crossed they can do this right.
Another interesting free agent that's out there that I thought would get a home, but maybe it's due to injuries. Kenny Golladay. Maybe he'll find his way back to Detroit. He's a good player. He's a very good wide receiver if he can stay healthy. Still don't know what the Vikings are going to do at wide receiver 3. Kind of hoping it's not the BC Johnson or Chad Beebe show anymore. Love you guys.
They'll draft a late round receiver. You can always talk yourself. Once you hit 4th round or later, you can always talk yourself into drafting a wide receiver.
Oh, yeah. But right now, I wouldn't even mind seeing more of Irv and Conkey on the field at the same time.
Yeah, me too.
I like both those guys. But past them, and of course, the running backs catching balls out of the backfield, the receiving group for Minnesota needs help. They really do. Isn't Golden Tate a free agent? Yeah. Both Kyles were talking about that a little bit when he was released. And he's sure had his fair share of highlights against Minnesota over his career. So maybe Minnesota has a trend of chasing players that light up the scoreboard and have great games against them. So you never know.
I'm thinking about wide receivers now. I'm going to my favorite college team. I'd like to see wide receiver from North Carolina, De'Ami Brown. I'd like to see him end up with the Vikings. He'd be really awesome. I'm trying to see what his projection would be, but I'm not finding it. We're going to do some more of that here on the show, though. We're going to talk about some draft prospects, and we're going to bring up an award show later. So
we'll eventually get to that.
That was the plan for this week, but free agency, of course, happened, and this show was one that we really couldn't kind of half-ass a little bit because there was just so much to discuss and figure out. But
this is the fun stuff to talk about. This is the direction of the team moving forward.
It's true.
Yeah.
I also know a lot of fans are really wanting Minnesota to look into that wide receiver from Minnesota, and that's supposed to be a first-round pick this year. And Minnesota does seem to have the Vikings seem to have a weird aversion to drafting players from the University of Minnesota that I don't really understand. There always seems to be a talented player somewhere there available. And, of course, this year it's Rashad Bateman. And Rashad Bateman will go somewhere. But I don't know if it'll be Minnesota because for some reason those Golden Gophers just don't come to Minnesota. Or stay in Minnesota, I guess I should say.
That's a good point. Man,
maybe it's because they can just call up the scouts or call the local police department and run a background check on them.
Man, just the amount of news that's happened today. I was just scrolling through Adam Schefter's timeline, and it's like every 20 minutes.
Dude, that guy's got like 6 phones. There's no way. I would hate to be him.
Yeah.
He can never sleep. He has to check his phone at least 4 times a night, I'm guessing.
I keep wondering if he takes like small 20-minute cat naps throughout the day constantly because he seems to always be awake in the middle of the night to post some news, and it's never a long period of time between posts.
They did that in my deployment with the Army back in the day. Went to Afghanistan and got attached with the Army, and they worked 4-hour shifts twice a day. Or no, was it 6? It might have been 6. 6-hour shift twice a day, and I was like, that's so terrible for your body. You just get 2 decently long naps a day, because at some point in there you have to shower, eat, maybe call home. So you're gonna stay
right.
up. You got to wake up, or you got to wake up to get dressed, and you're not gonna instantly fall asleep when you get home. That's a good point. I'd like to ask somebody needs to ask him that. I'm gonna tweet at him until he answers that. Andrew says, "How many?"
Game number 1 of get Adam Schefter to follow Kyle Smith on Twitter.
Hey, let's do it.
Everyone, and then
Let's
you can
go.
give up. Then give up after 18 days.
Do you even still have a Twitter anymore, Smith?
I do. I don't want to get him to follow me. I just want him to answer my question, which is I think a lot more achievable.
When was the last time you tweeted?
It's on a different account. I know Kyle's. I had 2. I don't know why I had 2 different ones, but yeah, my account here. Let's see. I don't even know how you get to find out what your handle is anymore. That's hilarious. K9_Viking, which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Are you the guy that told me I was talking up my ass?
No.
Okay.
No, you know more about football than I do. I'm not stupid. Talk shit.
I don't know. I've seen you in the comments on Facebook telling some people.
Yeah, that's always entertaining.
I need dumb people to understand that you can just not type what you're saying and go about your day. and they always go to the Facebook comment section, and it is infuriating. Just saying stuff like just general football knowledge, like why can't we just get rid of Kirk Cousins? Because money, you dipshit. That's why. And Sean Mannion's a backup. Like, did you just land in America yesterday? Jesus, dude. I get too spirited about that stuff.
You don't believe in Sean Mannion?
I believe that he's a human being that breathes and eats food. I'm not sure about the quarterback.
I would love to see him throw his first NFL touchdown.
For a different team and not under the Vikings cap? Absolutely. I would love that. You know what I want? I want to see the complete opposite of Kirk Cousins. I don't care if the guy can throw 7 yards. I want the most mobile and athletic dude like Joe Webb back there just for chaos. Just in case. That way when everything goes to shit and be like, hey, dude, go figure it out. We're not even going to call the plays. We're just going to let you do the stuff.
But I said this on last week's show, and I have to say it again. The Vikings have never had a quarterback play all 16 games in a season back-to-back. Never.
That's insane.
Kirk played all of them last year. So this year, if the trend continues, we are going to see Sean Mannion on that football field.
Shit.
Adam,
well,
what
it's going to be the 17-game season this year, huh?
Yeah.
So it's even more unlikely, I would say.
Right. Adam, what do you call that offense that most high schools used to run? Where
the Wildcat?
Where you just direct snap it to the running back all the time. What do they call that? The single wing.
Sure.
I don't remember what they call it, but the high school offense. For a while, you could have made the case to just snap it to Adrian Peterson.
Oh yeah,
every single time.
Yeah, nope, you're right. You're 100% right.
And just take it all the way back to high school and just snap it to AP and run it 4 times in a row and punt the ball and just see what happens.
Do you remember Ponder's rookie year when he took a handoff, or we went to go give a handoff to Adrian Peterson, and he stuck his knee out too far, and the two his knees collided?
Oh, yeah.
And everyone was all afraid that Christian Ponder had injured Adrian Peterson for the season. Oh my god, it looked bad too.
I remember being pissed off about that too. Get out of his way.
Signed Josh Freeman, and then he played a week later in probably the worst game of quarterbacks ever played in the NFL.
I remember sitting on this show. God, that would be embarrassing to go back and listen to. The week that we signed him, where we were all like, oh, yeah, that makes sense for Minnesota. I see what they were doing. He's got potential.
Oh, boy. He had some tools. I mean, he didn't make it to the NFL based on being absolutely terrible.
he did have a year. I think he had decent yardage, touchdowns. The Bucks, I think they made the playoffs. So I was like, oh, cool, ceiling's good. Did not know the floor was the center of the earth. That was just terrible. Andrew, I've left your comment up here for like 5 minutes, dude. Sorry, I was just going on rants and talking stupid here. How many more good years do we think we get from Cook? Barring no injuries, that's a big if. I would say
with him.
I would say 5. 5's a good number. I think 3 is good no matter what. Maybe he has a setback here or there, but he's still very young, dude.
I was going to say 3 or 4.
Yeah.
And that's if they use him the way they have been using him. If they can figure out a way to lighten the load a little bit without losing production for the team, then that would definitely be optimal. And I like Madison, but him and Madison are different kinds of running backs. So, yeah, I would like to see his career extended a little bit by lightening the load a little bit, but I don't want to see them lighten the load so much that it might hurt the team going forward as far as wins and losses. So it's a tough balance to find, but I think that we still got quite a bit of Dalvin Cook to watch and enjoy.
Yeah, I think we got another couple solid seasons, 3-4 seasons left in him. Unfortunately, he'll probably break sooner rather than later, because that just seems to be durability issues are the big concern with Dalvin Cook, but
you know what I'd like to see, and I know we've seen this on Twitter a million times, and the cap's there if it was a veteran-friendly minimum deal. I'd love to see Adrian Peterson sign with and play on the team his last season, even if he only takes 40 snaps the whole year. I would love it. He's going to sign at least a 1 day to retire as a Viking, but if they needed some depth or something, I mean, how cool would that to see him get out there and just break one more vintage run? That would be sick. That'd be really cool. I don't think it'll happen, but I'm just spitting out loud here. We're talking about running backs. He's still trying to play. He's very much still
Peterson said he's got 2 teams supposedly that have been shown interest in him.
Yeah,
so.
Nice.
Well, Ifeadi Adenigbo finally said his farewell to Minnesota and U.S. Bank Stadium on Twitter. So I'm assuming that the door is kind of closed on him coming back.
There are rumors again of Everson Griffin.
From Everson Griffin?
No, from someone else that I seen on Twitter. I forget who. They had a check mark that say were potentially that the Vikings might be interested in bringing him back.
I just don't know how you do that when he seems to lose his shit on the internet every once in a while. Like, his mental health is a legitimate concern at this point.
Yeah.
Especially after that weird meltdown or whatever happened a couple of years ago. I worry for him and people's safety, but he's talented as shit. Don't get me wrong. He's a great player. Ugh, that's a weird one.
I mean, he might be backup plan if things go south with Danielle Hunter.
That's true.
Yeah.
You could do worse.
Let's just wish that into existence right now. The Vikings and Danielle Hunter are going to come to agreement, and it's going to be fine. I think we talked on it earlier, but I don't think they're going to overpay, but I think if he asks for something, they're probably going to give it to him.
All I know is I do I want Mackenzie Alexander to come back to Minnesota. I liked Mackenzie Alexander.
Yeah, I would like that too.
Big fan of that guy.
I know he was getting a little upset and frustrated with everything that was going on in Minnesota, but now that he's seen a little bit of what it's like outside Minnesota, maybe he knows a little bit better what to expect at the NFL level and how good of a coaching staff as far as his position it is in Minnesota right now. They have way too much talent for defensive players to go there and learn and develop and just become great players.
Not on Ev. Yeah, not either, Andrew. I get it. I think we've talked about just about everything for this week, man. Sorry, we promised and teased about it earlier. There's going to be an award show, guys. We're going to post it on the Facebook page and get your thoughts, get some of your answers up there, if not all of them. Recapping the 2020 season. We'll get to that soon, but there's just been a lot going on since the last episode where the only highlight we had was talking about Kyle Rudolph. A lot has happened since then. Hopefully we'll have even more. Hopefully they sign another player or two in between now and the next show. That's been tradition right here.
Another guard got signed.
Who?
Chicago Bears signed Jermaine Ifeadi. 1 year, $5 million deal. And good news for Vikings fans is that he is not very good.
Well, there you go.
This is the updates that I live for here. I like Adam's delivery on this. He's not very good.
It was a very weekend update from SNL delivery on that one, Adam.
That was good.
I like that.
Well, I'm
very Norm Macdonald.
I miss Norm's weekend updates.
He was my favorite of all the weekend updates.
Norm is hilarious. His joke, I think it was on Conan, about his wife being in a coma was, holy crap, that was one of the funniest, dirtiest jokes I've ever heard in my life. Oof, yeah. You guys Google that. I can't say that on the show.
Can we get him on the show?
That'd be awesome.
Can we get Norm on the show? What do we got to do for that?
Norm does, if you follow his Twitter, he's entertaining enough to actually turn on golf on your TV and just read his Twitter as you watch golf with him. Like, as he's watching it and he's live tweeting. It's hilarious.
That's amazing. He is a
remember when they had what was it, Dennis Miller doing commentary on the NFL?
Oh, God.
I've tried to block that out, but thank you for reminding me.
I don't remember this.
So they can, maybe they'll try another comedian in the booth one day.
Unless it's Pat McAfee. I know he's
I was going to say they had a chance with Pat and they won't take him, which is annoying. ESPN's blocked all their talent and all their people that work there from seeing do anything on his show too, which is really annoying.
They backtracked on that. This is amazing. So they backtracked on it a day later because everyone was shitting all over ESPN, and then they put out a statement and it's like, no, that wasn't what was happening. And then they said at the end of it, we look forward to working with Pat McAfee in the future. He shit all over that on their show. He's like, I ain't fucking going on ESPN. Not now. Why would I do that? I ain't working with you dipshits. It's great.
I know for a while there, too, they were really being bad about their content makers having their own podcasts or side projects.
Yep.
I know Mina Kimes was one that was, like, really upset because they kind of singled her out. And that wasn't really fair.
Good at her job, and I loved her podcast. But you're right. You guys know on the show, I'm a huge Levitard fan, and he has his own podcast network. But they pick and choose who they want to highlight, who they want to fire. I mean, it's Disney; they're owned by Disney. They can do whatever the hell they want. But same stuff, and they jump ship as well, and they're blocking a lot of the ESPN guys from going to Levitard's podcast. It's a podcast, man. It's not even an aired show. You have to subscribe to it, and it's like. ESPN thinks they're a lot better and holier than thou than they really are, and that's frustrating.
They are, and we should probably wrap the show up. They are incapable of seeing that someone like Pat McAfee is the future and of sports broadcasting. Like what he's doing on YouTube, like that's it.
Which is funny because how politically progressive left they are. They are archaic in the way that they want to do their format. Yeah. And they broke the way for that. That's so like, Pardon My Take was such a good revolutionary show. They got Stephen A. Smith, the WWE character that's out there. But the future is that. I mean, it doesn't have to all be on that way, but you got to have at least somebody there. And they're fighting that so hard, and the ratings and the numbers show that. And people like Levitard, they had a #1 show forever in that time slot. And they're like, yeah, cool, you fired our guy on our show. That was bullshit. We're going to leave. And they did. They left because of that. So
you guys remember? Fun. You remember boring old Dan Deerdorf doing announcing? Like nobody. Like the days of putting Dan Deerdorf in the announcer's booth, and he sounds like he's asleep.
20-yard pass and touchdown.
Can we play? Can we stop with that?
I need Pat McAfee jumping off a tugboat into a dirty river in Louisiana. That's what I need.
Yeah, I need really do.
You don't need it every weekend, but for college football, when you match the energy, show me that every time.
Yeah,
that's cool. All right, I'm going to promote some stuff here. If you guys like this shirt that I'm wearing, go to this link below. Whoever won our I forget the name. Whoever won the Survival League. Sorry,
whoever that was.
It's been like 2 weeks. It's been 2 full weeks of just shit here. I'm going to buy you one of these because you sent our info and you've requested what you wanted, but I wore it today specifically so you would see. Fits good. This is an extra large. It comes in all kinds of fits, sizes,
Does
colors.
He get that one worn by you?
I'll spray cologne in it if he really wants it. I'll send it.
Rub it all over your body. Oh, yeah.
I'll kiss it on the way out, too. It'll be sealed with love.
Well, I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Go to this website and check it out. Also, if you don't want to buy Purple People podcast merch, which you should, but if you don't, you can check out Kyle West over here. He has a lot of photography up on that page. He does amazing work, and you can get some of his prints. All kinds of cool stuff here. I mean that. Go check it out.
I have a new photo shoot that I'm going to be working on here shortly. And that means I'm actually going to update my portfolio and
Nice.
get some new work up there. So I am looking forward to that.
Are they tasteful nudes?
They are. They are on the Purple People Podcast OnlyFans website.
Nice.
No.
Get ready, boy.
Oh, no.
Oh,
Be careful with that. That's against the terms and conditions of Twitch.
Oh, you can't show your feet, huh?
Yep, no feet.
Man, they're just ahead of the game. I'm trying to make some coin here. What the hell?
So if I don't think we have anyone watching on Twitch, but if they did, then they just saw some rules getting broken.
I can lift up my shirt and show my nipples, but you better keep your toenails on the Twitch.
Man,
That's crazy.
yeah, that's wild.
That's funny. Speaking of Twitch, Adam Carlson's on there, and you should follow him.
I'd like it. I don't be on there very much, but I am working on upgrading my setup so I don't feel like I'm absolutely inept on there. I'm also trying to get a setup for my gaming system so that I can run games a little bit more efficiently. And I hope to make a return to Twitch, possibly within the next couple of weeks, and have a nice setup. Even here for streaming and for the podcasts, I'll have a little bit more professional of a setup. And that's the wood paneling and mirror with weird shell lamp is a bad background for me. It's just not as professional or as visually appealing as what Mr. Smith's got going on over there.
I stole this idea. It's not mine. You guys can't see it too. Shout out to my brother for getting me this thing right here that holds my guitar up for my birthday. But I have lyrics right here from one of my favorite guys here in Nashville, handwritten. So I stole the light idea from him. He does all his live shows and has this cool thing going on in the background. It's like outer space and the ocean. If I gamed that, this is what I would use, man. But I have to say, to give Adam a shout out too, piggybacking again, if you guys heard the beginning of the show, I had 3 tabs open. There's a lot of good writing going on at the Viking Age, and you can help pay Adam Carlson's bills. Go over there to one of his articles that have his name on it, interact in the bottom and comment, get his numbers up. Help him out.
It's true. Tomorrow morning you can see my article on what to expect from the Vikings' new defensive tackle.
It's exciting. I'll be checking that out. Oh, no, we have to. No one brought up Pizza Ranch today.
Oh.
Never mind. Well, it was almost there.
We almost made it through a whole show without talking about Pizza Ranch.
Ugh. I can't
we need
even
a
say anything.
sponsorship.
I'm just jumping on the bandwagon that it sucks. But if they sponsored us, that would be the best tasting pizza on planet Earth.
No. I do like the fried chicken, though.
I'd lie.
I would. I'd say their fried chicken is delicious because that is true. That is true. The chicken is where it's at.
That'd
Should be
hilarious.
Chicken Ranch.
Oof. And on that note,
Because that pizza was nasty.
I'd lie. That'd be so funny to have a Pizza Ranch shirt and I'd be promoting it here. And like, there's not one within 200 miles of Nashville. And like, I don't care. It's the best place ever.
Hey, we could have had big Manscaped logos everywhere.
Yeah,
No.
nah. That doesn't really go with the show here with all this facial hair.
It's true, Ends. Facial hair. And with that lighting over there, this beard looks amazing. I don't know why, but it's just that lighting is great for this. It makes it look like a nice, really dark red, which I love.
It's good. I'm a big fan.
For those that are listening on Spotify, I am playing with my beard, and it's pretty wonderful. Sometimes I forget that people aren't watching. Sometimes that they just kind of listen on Spotify or wherever podcasts are available. We usually are, whether it's Google Podcasts, iTunes, Podomatic, Stitcher. I don't even know where else podcasts go, but we're probably there.
Into the
But yeah,
void.
thank you again. They do.
Yeah.
Thank you again to everyone who joined us in the chat. I know most of you listen to us and watch us live on YouTube. But that's not the only place you can check us out live. You can check us out on Facebook Live, which is a lot of fun and something that we've recently started doing. So if YouTube ain't your thing, go check us out on Facebook Live. And if Facebook Live, if you delete it like a lot of people have done because of whatever reason, we're also live on Twitch. You can come in. Your comments on Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube will all reach us if you want to talk to us live. So go there, comment, interact. Let's have some fun, and let's talk football sometime. In the meantime, stay classy, Minnesota.